Um, I got today Revelations 13, and it's quite detailed chapter because it's quite a lot. It's 1,000 years in meaning. It's quite a lot because you have what is the rejection of Satan. The second time happened, and then the reign of Eve, the Holy Spirit, in the third cycles of reign. So this one is very interesting because it has got what I've been talking about, and then we build on that, and then we see what actually it is about. So I'm talking to you as I go through the chapter itself. See, with this sort of thing, it's just unbelievable because you got to understand what it means actually when you explain the Bible. The difficulty and the confusion, distortion, lies, and everything that associated with it. Because you have to link up events past thousands of years to the present, and then how these people are exposed. So it's not easy to do that. So I've got Revelations 13, which is quite intense. The first verse, 7 and 10, and what is the actual response to what happened this time in the reign of the Holy Spirit or Eve, where Satan is rejected. Second time, here Satan makes a stand, and what does he do? Satan go after the reign of the Holy Spirit this time. This is where the dispute of what happened in the reign of Adam manifested. So it is a confused chapter talking about a woman about to give birth, and a woman with 12 coronet, the 12 disciples, what has to happen. The disciples were to come one at a time, and this is where it's very confusing because you have to separate, distinguish, to explain what it means. 10:7, where Satan claimed to be 7. That's a dispute because 7 is God in duration of each reign, which is 1,000 years. What happened after creation? 6 days is a 7. 7 is each reign in duration, which is 1,000 years long. So here you got the dispute and the intensity of it, because for the first time we got a name Satan mentioned. It's a dragon. The dragon, what does the dragon do? Go after the reign of the Holy Spirit, where Satan is rejected the second time. So the dispute this time is what happened after Satan is rejected the second time. This time Satan's fate lay with his own people. So his only people were the only people who can bring about what he set to do. So what Satan wants to do is to link up with Cain. Cain no longer existed, but Cain was the first person who recognized Satan as God. So Satan sought his testimony against the reign of the Holy Spirit of Eve. So this is where the dispute is. For in the reign of Adam, Michael, the archangel, lead angel in that reign, testimony in defeating Satan, is about what happened in the reign of Adam. There Satan was rejected by that reign, but where he fought against his rejection is in the reign of Eve of the Holy Spirit. So we got this one going on coming, and it's very interesting in that Michael's testimony, as in the reign of Adam, goes against Satan's dispute in the reign of the Holy Spirit or Eve, but we don't have the name of the lead angel in the reign of the Holy Spirit of Eve, and this is Gabriel. So because that's how the dispute is. When you're dealing with dispute, it omits a lot of things, and you have to pick those out. So now why I'm picking out this, because I know 9,000 years of the Bible, everything, and what is disputed and how to resolve it. So Michael's testimony is because it's spiritual. In the reign of Eve, the Holy Spirit, here we are in Judas is killed. So that's the reason you got Michael's testimony, because the anointed, the disciples, the anointed ones, 12, one at a time, was prayed through the entire reign of the Holy Spirit. So Judas is killed. Then what you have in Satan's dispute with the reign of the Holy Spirit is a spiritual witness account. Now, this witness account of Michael as a lead angel in the reign of the Holy Spirit or Eve omits Gabriel. So Gabriel's testimony is what follows, but you have the dispute, and that explains what happened to Judas or the disciples in this case. For they received a message from Gabriel, but the death means Gabriel's testimony is rejected as well, because Satan goes after the reign of the Holy Spirit here. So now this is a dispute. So you got where Satan makes a stand in the reign of the Holy Spirit or Eve after that reign rejected him. But this is a second rejection. So you got two more reign to run. The reign of the Holy Spirit and Abel or the Father was in the third cycle's reign is none. So here the dispute, which now centers on Barabbas, what Barabbas means, the verdict against Jesus, because Satan asked God, his own people, to bring about death of Jesus in 3 days. And here we're in a second reign, and his followers follow it up. They followed it up with what they say has to be death of Jesus this time, although his reign just descended, which means it has to ascend, and then they can come the reign of Abel. They want to bring about death of Jesus, because death of Jesus is what the reign after Eve was going to be as well. And that is what is disputed this time, because after the reign of the Holy Spirit, the reign of the Father is going to descend. So you already see that these people have no hope, no future, nothing is going to happen as they wanted it to happen, but that doesn't stop them from disputing it. So this is a dispute you have. So the reign of the Holy Spirit is then attacked. Satan's followers, after being about death of Jesus, and for that to happen, the reign of the Holy Spirit is attacked. Because what's going to happen after the reign of the Holy Spirit is going to come the reign of Abel. No, it's not true that Jesus is going to be killed, but that doesn't stop them doing what they wanted to do, because they've got Barabbas. They've got the means, they said, to bring about death of Jesus. Although the only people who got killed were the disciples. And this is a distortion, confusion, dispute, and the argument centers on what constituted the death of Jesus. The evil one's way of looking at it is that the death of Jesus had to happen in the third reign. So by acting in the reign of Eve of the Holy Spirit, that is possible. The disciples, on the other hand, they say, no, it can't be true, because the reign of the Holy Spirit descended only. Whereas the argument is based on the birth of Jesus, which is not true. So if Jesus was born, and then like a person, Jesus was to die, now that doesn't happen. Because it doesn't happen, it didn't happen, it won't happen, because Jesus can't be born. Is God. God descend, and that's descend. Ascend. So the two act at the same time, hand over from one realm to another. What we mean by descend and ascension. One reign hands over to the next one. That's ascension. And the other one accepts that. And that's descend. Now that's spiritual in meaning, which people like me and the disciples, they're not the ones know and understand. Now if you explain it, to encounter that, even people said Jesus was born and therefore has to die. And that's the dispute. So it's disputed. The dispute is that Jesus was born, because Jesus is born, has to die. Although the truth is it's not true. So you got this one. It's quite interesting actually. The chapter as it is intense. Because it's 1,000 years long, and it incorporate another 1,000 years in meaning, because what's going to happen after the reign of the Holy Spirit is a descent of the reign of Abel. Mary Magdalene, or the Father, the two Marys at the foot of the cross, is this what you got. Now, Satan through his followers now go after the reign of the Holy Spirit or Eve in response to what Jesus did by rejecting Satan as God. For that, Jesus has to die. Okay, so is that possible? And that is no, but that doesn't stop these people from arguing, because this is the dispute. They want to see the death of Jesus. I've noted that because they wanted Jesus to die doesn't mean that Jesus died. But in the dispute, descent become birth of Jesus, and ascension become death of Jesus. Now, obviously it's not true. I testify against that. And obviously, I've landed myself in all sorts of problems throughout, but it's fine. I mean, I can deal with that, really. Anyway, so we got that. So it's a dispute. Magnitude of it is immense, obviously, because you got 2,000 years to run to come to 2008 when the dispute ended. Because the judgment against Jesus is acted upon, and Satan's part is in what his own followers had to do. They claimed Jesus was going to die in 3 days. That had to end with the reign of Abel. It didn't. The opposite happened. But this is the chapter we're talking about. 2000 before the projected death of Jesus, and it didn't happen. Now, that's quite interesting, because you got what it means to deal with these people on what is dispute. It centers on what is not true, but they argue. And when you say you contradict them, you land yourself in trouble. Now, obviously, that has been my life in dealing with these people, so I know that. Now, the chapter in question, what it means actually, it's exciting, because you see it happening. The woman has the reign of the Holy Spirit. It's not given a name, and that's telling you about the dispute. They're dismissing the reign of the Holy Spirit by not giving it a name. That's a dispute. What else? You got the dragon. To begin with, Satan is a dragon, the devil. And this God of the evil one has led people astray. Now, what does it actually mean? Because it's not people that people believe in Satan, they don't. But we got what is in place, because it's a political system, economic system, social, religious, and the crown against God. So it means they're in charge. So everything has to go through them. They have to approve of that. And that's how they say the death of Jesus is going to come about. No. Was that possible? The answer is no. But that doesn't stop them from arguing, disputing that was the case, because that's what they wanted to happen. They wanted to see Jesus die, and the reason why, because Jesus rejected Satan as God, and Satan's testimony to the name in the dispute they had with Jesus, where they mocked Jesus. Jesus says, God, a crown of thorns, is because he's going back to when it started. So there's no going back on that. Each way is going to. Cain is the first person to testify to Satan as God, and Satan backed up his followers as king over Jesus because of that, and therefore Satan has to bring Cain to life, and then Cain will testify to that. Now, is that possible? There is no, but that doesn't stop them in doing what they were doing. So here is the exciting part. It's intense, it's exciting, it's got everything. So we see how that goes. So I have to explain that to you. Okay?